Okay, so I want to make a video talking about my Kundalini Awakening experience, mostly because I have no one else I can talk to it about because I don't know, I'm not in like some community or whatever. I don't know. You can't talk these things happen. You can't talk with them with a lot of people because they won't get it, right? And I guess I also want to make it just in case you're having the experience, you can hear about other people's experiences. That has been helpful to me. Is going on YouTube and hearing other people talk about it. And, you know, it's like if this happens to you and you don't know what it is, you will think that you're going insane. So I'll talk about what I experienced, how it happened, what initiated it, what practices I was doing to lead up to it, and maybe what inspired my uh, you know journey in the first place. We'll start there because when I was a lad, when I was just a kid, I had this book. It's an old book. I guess my grandfather, I never met him, he collected old books. One of them was called Life and Teachings from the Masters of the Far East. It was written in the late 1800s, and it was about Western American journalists who went up into the foothills of Nepal and in the Himalayas, and they spent some time with these masters of spirituality or Buddhism and so on. And they reported all these mystical, magical things. Like these guys were levitating. They would, go on a hike for 2 days, and the master would stay behind, and then they would get to the next village, and the master would be there. And they were like, "How do you get here? Like, what path did you take?" Or they would just appear in their locked room, stuff like that. So, is that exaggerated? Did that really happen? Who knows? But it intrigued me. It made me want to start meditating. And ever since I was a kid, I always had like this intuitive feeling that just like these Zen guys and like these Buddhist guys, I always just kind of felt like they knew something. Like there was something real to attain or understand there. And so, meditating since I was a kid, had a out of body enlightenment experience like 10 years ago that I was really probably not prepared for, and like was not ready to integrate that into my life. But anyway, the Kundalini. I was sitting in my truck, and first off, I was thinking, what should I do? I have some free time. Maybe I'll go on a walk. Maybe I'll go out and get food at a restaurant. Maybe I'll go to the gym. And I thought maybe I'll get some beer. I don't really drink much, but I thought maybe I'll get some beer and go for a walk in the woods. And then I thought, why? Like, what do all these things have in common? I thought, like, what am I really trying to gain? What experience am I trying to have from doing this? And I just kind of got this feeling of being like, I'm just so sick of like trying to do things. And up to this point, too, I was also practicing all the classic Kundalini activation practices. I wasn't doing yoga, but I was retaining my energy, trying to eat clean. I was doing the breath of fire meditations and things. And also, importantly, one thing that was kind of a catalyst for this was I went through a breakup and I was sad afterwards. And so, you know, I think I processed that in a very healthy way. Like, I just allowed myself to be sad. I listened to the song Creep by Radiohead an alarming amount of times in a row in my apartment, to the point where, like, if somebody noticed that, they probably should have like checked to see if I was okay. Like, if someone's listening to the song Creep by Radiohead for like 3 hours straight, like you should see if they're okay. You know what I mean? So, but I was just letting myself be sad. And I've thought this recently where it's like, if you're sad and you try to make yourself feel good, that kind of hurts. But if you're sad and you just let yourself be sad, that feels good. Like, it feels good. And so I went through that, right? And then afterwards, I was thinking, why does having a girlfriend or being in a relationship, it makes me feel good? Like, I feel lighter. I feel happier even when I'm not with that person. But when you're with somebody, you feel like there's potential and you really get along. There's all that. Like, you feel better. Like, throughout the day, you just feel lighter. You're in a better mood. You're like listening to conversations more. Just all around in general, right? And so we break up, and now I'm sad. And now I'm like, why do I need that external thing to feel that way? Like, the way I felt in the relationship, I was generating myself. I was generating all those like good feelings within myself. And I thought, why can't I do this myself? Like, why can't I feel like this on my own without anybody? Why do I need some external thing in order to feel that way? So that was something that was in the back of my head. And then I started doing Kundalini practices, all that, right? For probably only like a month. And then I stopped. I was like, this doesn't work. And it's like arduous and kind of exhausting. And nothing really has happened. But before I stopped doing it, I did do the breath of fire one day at work when I was really tired, and I felt like something happening like at the base of my spine. There was like this quick little rush of energy, and I was like, oh, what was that? That was like what they say Kundalini is like. And if you've never experienced Kundalini, it's a lot like when you see like a really like inspiring scene in a movie or something, and it like gives you chills throughout your spine. It's like that for me. That's what it was like, but it's like more intense, and it's literally like constantly happening for like, for me it was like 3 weeks of like very intense, and your whole body is more sensitive. And then this is going to have to be a two-part video because there's a lot of crazy things that happen. So I was thinking like, what should I do? That's all like the background of what I was doing before. And now thinking like, what should I do with my free time? Should I go out to eat? Should I go to the gym? Should I go for a walk in the woods? And then I was like, I really, and so I go into my truck in a parking lot, in an apartment complex, right? And I'm like, I don't really want to do any of these things. I was like, I just want to sit here and do nothing. Like, I'm tired of trying to like achieve things and do things and like find happiness or whatever, like outside of myself by doing things. And I was like, I'm totally happy just sitting here in my truck. And then my mind thought, well, you can't just sit here in your truck. It's weird. It's just people walking by and stuff, or whatever. And then I was like, yeah, I can't. Like, it doesn't matter. It was like, I just don't want to do, I don't want to do anything. And then I started to get these like waves of energy, like this like energy in the base of my spine, just like how you hear it described, just starts like swirling and going up my body, like up my spine, and I'm like into like the back of my head up here, and then it would go down through my arms, it would go into my legs, and like my elbows were like very like sensitive in a way. Like, it's hard to explain. I was like, I I just felt so good. I felt like it's like this sacred energy that you can tap into. And I guess it's the feminine energy. Like, we have the masculine energy, which I think is our third eye. That's like our mind, decision making, like getting things done. And the feminine energy is just kind of like tuning in and feeling and almost allowing. And it was through the giving up. Sorry, my cat, Kitty, she's gonna knock my camera over. It's through the giving up, like the not caring, that this started to happen. This started to awaken. It was through the stillness. And I think a lot of it had to do with the intention to do it, the like kind of tuning into my body, asking those questions like, why can't I feel like happy and relaxed on, just on my own? And but it was in that stillness, in the not caring, in the not seeking, which is another big thing in like Zen and Buddhism and all that, like they make you do all these practices and all these things where they're like, oh, it might take lifetimes, it might take, it's going to take all this work. They do that to get you so that you burn through that. So that eventually you're like, I don't care anymore. This is stupid. I'm not trying. This isn't working. They want you to burn through the seeking and the desire because that's the only way you're going to find it. And with a lot of this Kundalini stuff and awakening, spiritual enlightenment, whatever, you'll hear people say that, like, oh, it could take lifetimes. It could take, it's going to take a lot of work. The only time these experiences can ever happen is right now. That's the only time they will ever happen. And I'm going to make this into a 2-part video. So I want to tell you more about how long this lasted, how intense it was, and some of the almost like psychic phenomenon and synchronicities and being able to sense other people's energy. And also how I then kind of self-sabotaged it because I was like, this is crazy. I cannot handle this or operate my life like this. All right, thank you for watching. Click part 2. And let me know if you've had a Kundalini experience in the comments. I am genuinely very interested if you have.